What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 24, Big Game Talk. We're back after a little bit of a hiatus. We're back to stay. Now we got a pretty packed episode. We got some MLB coming back after coronavirus. We got The Rock buying the XFL. NBA and NHL is coming back. NHL's already into their playoffs. We got to talk about whether the NFL is even going to be able to play this year and some other stuff. So we're excited to get into it. And what do you got to say, Chris?
I'm just happy sports are really back. I mean, sports have been back for a while, like UFC and stuff, but the team sports are back. It feels like we're back to normal a little bit again. So I'm really excited to actually have some stuff to talk about this week.
Sounds good. Hit the music. All right. So for the MLB, the season's about a week in, and we've already had a massive coronavirus shit show. As it's probably could be expected in a poorly run league like the MLB. But we had the Marlins and Cardinals are the main kind of people that are teams that are dealing with it right now. The Marlins were the original ones. And what are you doing as the Marlins franchise? They were essentially not listening to any of the protocols. They knew that at least 3 baseball game, and then they forced the Phillies to be shut down for a week. And what do you think about this situation?
I see, because I heard from you that they were going down to the hotel bar and mingling and stuff, and that's the way this
That's
all
what
happened.
I read. Yeah, they just were disregarding any protocols or anything.
So you're on the road, you're at a hotel. You get bored in that hotel room. I understand completely getting, like, you could go crazy in a hotel room if you're just locked up in there. And then there's a bar. It's like, oh, you're not even leaving the hotel. It's going to be fine. And then you're going down to this hotel bar where people from all across the country are gathered, drinking. They've been traveling. All these random people, and then you're professional baseball players, so of course everyone wants to kind of hang around you and talk to you and stuff, and you're a professional baseball player, so you love the attention. You're getting close, maybe so for some pictures or whatever, and next thing you know, boom, you may be the reason MLB doesn't have a season this year. It's very, very upsetting. Like, it's so simple. Like, to me, you have so many means as a professional baseball team, as a professional baseball player. Go send out some intern or something to go run by the liquor store, get some brews for all the players, deliver them to the rooms. Everybody get in a Zoom call like this. We're in a Zoom call right now. That's what we've been doing. We've been hanging around UFC nights over Zoom, just like the rest of the world's been doing. Stay in your hotel room, and maybe you'd be playing baseball games right now. I don't know. It just seems so simple. And what's really getting me super upset is all these non-baseball fans are just coming out of the woodwork to criticize the MLB right now for just like how bad things have gone. And it's all you just have to point at the Miami Marlins. I think this is so frustrating.
Yeah, it's tough. And I get them not wanting to hang out on Zoom because we're on Zoom, and I missed 90% of what you already said because it kept freezing. Yeah. But my big thing is if you're the Miami Marlins, you can't almost have the season canceled because you are the team that matters the least.
Yeah.
If the Yankees did this, if the Dodgers, if the Red Sox, like any marquee team did this, it's a bit of a bigger deal. Now I'm relevant at all.
Yeah, no.
And we're frozen.
Yeah, we're frozen.
We came back. We came back
though. You started sounding like you were drinking too much Pink Whitney's or something because you were slurring.
My whole point was Marlins can't have the season canceled because they're not a relevant team to begin with.
Yeah, no, and like the only thing I think what's their win percentage like before they got like they postponed and everything? I think they were above 500. They were doing
well. They were 2-1. They were 2-1. They were 2-1.
They were winning the NL East. So maybe this is the plan. Maybe this is the strat for the Marlins. You can't lose if you don't play.
Maybe
sneak a wild card in there on your win percentage. At the end of all this. But yeah, it's
But it's going to be a shit show. And then you got the Cardinals right now, and it looks like they kind of did the proper protocol and everything.
mhm,
The last check I saw, it was like 13 people on the team had it.
mhm.
And I think we're at a point, if this happens to another team where it causes widespread cancellations and everything, I think it might be time to pack it in.
Yeah, it's
Or
tough.
at least sit back, cancel the season for like 2 weeks and reevaluate. Not cancel,
Yeah,
sorry, like
I
push, postpone, reevaluate, and come back to the table when you know what the hell you're doing. Test, learn
yeah.
from that, and move on.
Yeah, well, I think the play was 2 months ago. Get the boys together, get an infected person, get the infected person to cough on everybody, be sick for a couple weeks, get the immunity, and then you're ready to go. I think that like you did that's more foolproof than the bubble, in my opinion. I think just get everybody or get a bubble, get everybody sick inside the bubble, keep them in the bubble so it doesn't spread, and then everybody's immune or what? Because you're immune, right? Aren't you immune if you get it and recover? No?
You can get it like multiple times.
Oh.
No,
And that's why this
you
is
can get
not
it
a
multiple
medical show.
times. Like that would not work. Yeah,
So
like
it's
that would
not
just
like
be
you
like
get
now you're just having compromised players play. You're just having players with lung problems play. That's what you're
Yeah.
getting.
That's man, it's
So
such a
yeah,
train
that's
wreck. It's
bad
such a
ideas
train
with Chris.
and
Yeah.
I mean like as a Mets fan, like the Mets Twitter every time like a player breathes on the Mets and it just leads to something terrible happening in the game, everyone's just saying cancel the season.
Well, how about your Mets there, where there was about a 45-minute span where they thought Yoenis Cespedes might be dead?
Yeah. Yoenis Cespedes is just like he is such he's an anomaly to me. Like he's so predictable and yet he's so unpredictable. This hasn't played a game in 2 years, largely because of he was attacked by a wild boar on his farm. Finally comes back. He's one of the highest paid Mets players. He's supposed to be their superstar. Like he's supposed to be the big name on the team, the guy he's got all the fancy colors, this gold. He's rocking this gold belt this season. He's got all the swagger and all of that. Is really what the Mets are paying him for, the swagger. And he comes in, bats 160 for 8 games, watches just the team falling apart slowly, leaving runners out on base. They can't score. The pitching staff is weak, and he just says, "You know what? Like, I'm out of here." And he says, he blames COVID. It's COVID, the reason that I'm scared of. It's scared for my safety. No, you just don't want to play another miserable Mets season, and you just leave. You don't get out on Dodge. You just leave your hotel room the morning of an afternoon game, and you don't tell anyone. And your agent has to inform the team during the game that you're missing. That you're out of here. It's just.
Did you hear the rumor too, where some of the Mets players were saying, "Well, he already said goodbye to me. Like we knew he was leaving." The night before, some players had said like he told the team, like the team knew. So there's rumors that the team knew, and then they made it public, and it's just a whole disconnect. And it's just welcome to the Mets.
Yeah, welcome to the Mets. Yeah, see, because that's another thing. Like, that's a little conspiracy here, right? That the Mets just like I don't know what the Mets are doing, but maybe he just said goodbye, and they're just like, oh yeah, like when you leave the ballpark at the end of the night, you say goodbye, But little did they know Cespedes was saying goodbye. But now he's back on the farm.
This is the last year of his contract too, right?
Yeah. So
he's not come back.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough.
I mean, is he even playing in the MLB next year?
I see.
Like, who signs him after this? Somebody will. I mean,
somebody will, but I think like Cespedes really is like he's a guy. I think like you got to understand, like he came from Cuba, so it's not like it's kind of an impoverished place. Like had a very humble beginnings, and then all of a sudden he comes to the United States, is sick at baseball for many years, a superstar player. He can buy whatever he wants. He has this huge farm. He's got his horses. He's got his animals. Wild boars come and attack him sometimes, but it's okay. I think Cespedes has always struck me as a guy who's like baseball is just a job to him. It's not something he truly loves. And I may be putting thoughts into his mind. Like I may be totally missing the point or mark, but like I get the feeling that he's just a guy that does it because the money's good and really has just interests outside of baseball that are driving him. And if that's the case, I wish him all the best. If he wants to just dip out and do his own thing on his farm, enjoy his money, live within his means, whatever, that's fine. But like it's just this weird, as somebody like a Mets fan watching him play and knowing how much he's being paid, there's just a lackadaisical, and I mean he's so hurt, he's so fragile at this point. His legs, he's running 30%, he's using 30% energy to run out a ground ball. So it's just it like there's only so much he can do on the team, and I mean it helps that it helped this season with the DH. I'm not conceding that the DH should be in the NL by any means, but it helped Cespedes because he can't play the field anymore, which is a shame because he used to be a great fielder. It's a one long gut punch. Cespedes' recent tenure with the Mets, it's just one big gut punch.
Sorry about the Mets. So how about some early front runners for the World Series? On my end, I mean, it's going to be pretty chalk picks, but it's looking Yankees, Dodgers. Like that was what people would have said if there wasn't coronavirus, what they're saying with it.
Yeah.
I mean, two high spending teams that are just loaded.
Yeah. And I think the chalk picks are good to stick to in a season like this with 60 games. In 162 games regular season, so much can happen where, I mean, the chalk picks, a lot of the times the chalk picks at the beginning flop. But this is a sprint now, and the Yankees and the Dodgers mean business. And but how good is that NL West? NL West is so strong this season. Everybody's a contender, and especially I mean with how many wild card spots are given out. I mean there could be 4 teams in the NL West that make the postseason, which is absolutely nuts. So like the Rockies,
definitely the Rockies, Dodgers, and Padres coming out of there.
Yeah, Padres are looking really good. If you're a Padres fan, you're so hyped. But kind of sucks too because it's like the one year you're contender. It's the asterisk season.
Yeah, the Padres, that fandom. I mean, they've been a bottom seller team for so long, and then they just sold out because who they get? They got Hosmer, Machado. They get a decent pitching staff. Now they got that Tatis Jr. kid who's a stud. So I mean, you're looking pretty good if you're the Padres. After being, and then for them, I mean, just one couple, like as a Blue Jays fan myself, like you need two playoff seasons, and I'm happy for another 5 years.
Yeah.
So I think that's where the Padres are looking too.
So that'll be something to watch. But how do you think like it's been so far aside from the coronavirus stuff? Like let's take that out the door. In terms of just sitting down and watching baseball. How has it been? Like with the no fans and all that?
I think it's been good. To be honest with you, not having fans, I thought I would notice it a lot more than I do. I don't really notice it that much. It's just a game. Like once in a while, they like it's kind of noticeable. Even the pumped-in crowd noise, I thought I was going to hate it. It's not awful. I would prefer them to not do it still. But it kind of works sometimes. But it's still the same game. It's just no roar of the crowd, and it's not that bad. It's not that bad.
And now the thing with the pumped in noise, like the crowd noise, I don't mind it until a home run gets hit and they crank up the volume, and then it starts to sound artificial. The louder it gets, the more artificial it sounds. And when you're watching a guy round the bases with no fans and you hear crowd roaring, it's just like, okay, what is this, a movie or something? Like but I don't know, that's just me. But it's very it's a very intimate feel. It feels almost like you're watching Little League baseball almost, but it's like with professionals. And that's what I really liked. I mean, to tie it to the UFC, no fans. I love the UFC without fans. Now, like the crowd, roaring the crowd. It's a different animal. It's a different thing. Would I prefer to have a crowd? Yes. But of all the sports I've seen so far without any fans, UFC, like kind of that kind of street fight, intimate feeling, works as they lean into it. But and on the Fox broadcast for the Mets were playing the Braves on a Fox, like a national broadcast game, and they had like animatronic or like animated fans in the no, sorry, it was Mets Red Sox. They had animated people in the stands. Like anytime you do like wide pan, you just see like CGI people, and it was the creepiest. It's so weird. It is unsettling. I feel like it's this weird like dream I'm having within like MLB the Show. It's just not good. Just not good. Stick to the cardboard cutouts. The cardboard cutouts
don't try too hard. Like everybody understands the situation that we're in. Don't try too hard.
Yeah.
It is what it is. The more like the harder you try, the more obvious it is, and it looks stupid. Just put out the product, which is the baseball game itself, and let everything else sort itself out.
Yeah. No, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, and I mean you were in the Dragon sweater there. Some big news in the XFL today.
We got some big news. Some good news.
Today I saw the XFL is supposed to go up for auction today, and but they evenly bought the XFL for $15 million. Now, I'm pretty sure Vince McMahon started it with hundreds of millions of dollars. So the fact that they got it for $15 million. But my thing is, I mean, you're not buying the XFL for $15 million to start it right back up, because that's just like, that's not that much money for a full-fledged league. So my question, like, are they, because he bought the rights, is this is the XFL going to be back next year, or does he buy the rights and sit on it for a while type thing? And I mean, that probably is all dependent on the coronavirus, because if we're still dealing with this in February, which likely we will be, I mean, you're not putting out this product.
And you can't jumpstart a league without fans. There's just too much revenue you're losing right off the gate.
Yep.
And I wonder now, an interesting move is, I don't know the relationship between The Rock and Vince McMahon, but because they have a long history together. But if it's almost a situation where you pick up the rights to everything on the cheap, so in 10 years from now, when Vince McMahon wants to take another stab at this, it's like, hey Vince, give me $50 million for your brand back. You know, that could be.
No, I agree with that, but I mean, I agree with it, but Vince McMahon 10 years from now is not restarting this.
You don't know Vince McMahon. You don't know Vince McMahon.
10 years from now, though.
You don't know, dude. He this is his, like, this is the thing that's gonna haunt him. This is his white whale. I don't think Vince McMahon can die until the XFL has a successful 2 straight seasons.
But here's the thing: if the XFL becomes successful with The Rock, is Vince McMahon? Is he happy, or is he jealous that he couldn't do it himself? Because it's going to be Vince McMahon's biggest, because it's Vince McMahon's biggest star who left in the height of his powers to go be a movie star from WWE, who now takes over his baby and makes it successful.
You know, so there's just so much loaded into that. And like, if you're The Rock, like, you probably didn't even have, like, you don't have a plan in mind yet. You don't know what you're doing with this. You just saw something on the cheap, and it's like, whatever, if I buy this, whatever I do with it, it's going to just get at Vince McMahon. It's just imagine if one of your employees, like, from a successful company, leaves you at its, like, when you need him the most to go do something else, and then you start a new business and it flops, and then he buys it and then makes it successful. It's just the story there is just so, like, it's from Vince McMahon. It's gotta hurt. This is just gotta hurt, all of this. And especially, I mean, you were going fine. Like, the XFL was not anything spectacular in terms of everybody eyeballs on the sport, but it was surviving. It was getting along fine, better than fine. And then coronavirus happens. And these guys, this Seattle Dragons, bring it into the Seattle was the league.
Yeah.
It's just, man, I need to have a full XFL season in my lifetime.
Yeah, I'm excited. I hope they bring it back. I think you'd target not next year, the year after, if you're gonna bring it back. And I mean, if you're the Rock, he's paid $7.5 million for this. Like that's chump change for him.
Yeah.
He's not gonna notice that's gone. And like he probably makes that much for a fucking Instagram ad. He's got 193 million followers on Instagram. Like at worst, and now too, arguably the XFL, if you roll it out the exact same and just say like The Rock is half owner, it's more popular.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, because Vince McMahon is a name inside sports. The Rock is a name in sports and out of sports. So it's huge.
He has 193 million Instagram followers.
Yeah, well, we have 1,000, so you know.
No, but I mean, The Rock has he has 193 million Instagram followers. That means if he posts something for the XFL, like, hey, there's a game this week, and half his viewers see it, like, you're getting to like 95 million people.
There's a lot of people.
Yeah, like
Vince McMahon ain't putting out those numbers.
Yeah, and if he owns half of it, he's obviously gonna pump it for himself. So it's gonna do. It's the best case scenario to make it successful.
Yeah. Does the Rock ever play a game for an XFL team?
No. I mean, he did have a football career. I mean, he played at the University of Miami.
Yeah.
For the Hurricanes, but I mean, I think he's in his 40s now.
Yeah, he's getting old, but he's still...
I mean, he's probably fit enough that he could do it, but at the end of the day, I mean, you're making millions in movies, guy. Keep your body safe.
Yeah, I mean, you're making millions and just putting your phone like this and going like that, you know. What a guy. Man, it's so nice. Like this was just the good news I needed. I was in such a bad mood because of the MLB and thinking about, oh man, like all this stuff, like what are they going to do and all that, and we'll even be playing baseball games in 2 weeks. And then I got this news from you and I was so excited. Put on my Dragons hoodie, wearing it all day, just getting hyped because I got this hoodie the day the season was canceled. I was so mad.
Yeah, that was a tough one.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one. But
excited as you were for the XFL to come back too. I was just excited for a Leafs playoff game, and last night it's a tough life being a Leafs fan. They let you down every single year.
What was the final score of that game again? 2-0. 2-0. Yeah, 2-0, man. Last goal coming in empty net, so really a 1-0 game.
Overall though, the NHL has probably done it the best.
Yeah.
The bubble that they're in Toronto and Edmonton, and the way they're stacking the games, it is. I've been loving having hockey back. The playoff format they did is very good. I think it's better than what the NBA is doing right now. I really like it.
Yeah,
I think it's good.
It feels almost like the World Juniors or like a tournament like the Olympics, where you have a game like a weekend, a Sunday, and a game at 11, and then 3, and then like 6, and then 8, like stacked through the games, like through the day.
The gambler's dream too.
Gambler's dream. Yeah, no, that's a great point too, because you can bet on everything and watch everything.
Yes.
So that's a great point too. And the bubble seems to be the way to go. The bubble, I mean the NHL, NBA, they're not having a Miami Marlins situation because everybody in the hotel bar has been pre-tested. And
everybody in the hotel bar would be a player. I don't think anybody else would be a player.
Hotels. Yeah, exactly. So you're locked in. The bubble, like the bubble is the way to go. It's just when you get to sports like baseball and football, it's tough to make that, to swing that. But we'll get in that discussion later. But what else from the NHL has been kind of interesting you?
No, I mean, I'm just happy to have it back. I like the playoff format. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm hopping in. It froze again, so you said we're going to get into that later. Don't know what we're getting into later.
Oh, sure. You'll see, man.
But I'm just happy to have it back. You know what I mean? And I tell you what, the waking up and having playoff hockey in August, is a strange feeling. I tell you that right now.
Yeah, no, it's weird seeing like even because at work we sell newspapers. I'll check the newspapers every day, and the first time there was a hockey, like I knew hockey was coming back and all, but then seeing it on a newspaper, like front page of the Sun, just like a huge hockey thing, I was like, man, this is so weird. It's just the summertime, baseball's on. We're thinking about football now, and NHL is getting back started. It's just strange. Twilight Zone.
Well,
This is the
it
weirdest.
feels like April right now. It feels like April because it's
Mm-hmm.
playoffs for hockey and the beginning of the year for baseball. It feels like April.
And the thing is, like the sports schedule is how we frame time. Like, if you're a sports fan, you're watching sports almost every day. You kind of like there's seasons of life. Yeah, you can go outside and see what the weather is, but the best way to figure out what season is just to turn on your TV. You don't even have to go outside and see what sports on. But now all that stuff is just out the window. All your kind of senses are being messed with, and it's just a strange Twilight Zone times.
Yeah, and hockey kind of snuck up too because it was the last of the sports to come back because baseball came back, then the NBA came back, and then so it wasn't like hockey kind of snuck up a little bit. So
yeah,
I mean, I'm happy to have it back.
And hockey kind of had a rough, or not a rougher time, but in terms of marketing itself, like you compare it to the MLB, which is a kind of a flopping right now, but they had a plan. There was a period of 2 months where they had a different plan to get back to baseball every 2 months or every 2 weeks. Sorry. They had a new plan, staying in the news, staying relevant, staying fresh. And then you had the NBA, which I mean, the NBA is just such a marketing machine. And you have all the bubble stuff and Disney World. So there's kind of this like exotic kind of, I don't know. I see Disneyland as exotic, but anyways, like it's kind of like all the stars are coming in. And then there was the stuff with, the food, even the problems, like the bad press was good press for the NBA because like people talking about, like look at this airplane food that they're giving them and yada, yada, yada. They stayed in the news. Whereas NHL was kind of like, yeah, we're coming back in July. It's like, care to elaborate on NHL? It's like, yeah, we're coming back in July. Probably be Toronto, Edmonton. Yeah, we're coming back. And then they came back. They followed their word and came back, but they didn't do much, in my opinion, to really market itself outside of just saying, okay, this is what we're doing one time and following through.
Yeah, and they understand their position. They're of the 4 major sports in North America. They're number 4 in popularity. They understand that that's where they are. They don't try and be anything else. And it's kind of a situation where they do their marketing and everything, but it's more for the current fans, retaining fans and everything. They're really not out there trying to get new fans. These expansion teams that kind of are with when Vegas came in, they really pushed the Vegas crowd. Now with Seattle, the new team, Seattle Kraken, they're going to push the Seattle crowd. So that's kind of how they were trying to get the new fans. But I mean, like for me, I'm in Belleville, so I'm a Toronto Maple Leafs fan. In this Toronto market, you're not trying to create new fans. You're just retaining the ones you have, getting them tuned to the game.
Yeah.
And it's tough to get Americans to watch hockey too, because the Canadians, you have in the palm of your hand. The Americans, if you don't like it, you're never really gonna like it.
Especially with NBA and baseball on, because usually, I mean, you're competing with the NBA, but now you're competing with baseball too. So it's just a whole nother animal. That makes sense. But yeah. So now, like as I said, we're gonna get into this later. You didn't hear, but we're gonna get into NFL. Okay, how scared are you for the NFL season, given what's happened with the MLB? Because as we've said, there's just no way you do a bubble with NFL, just like baseball.
All right. So I'm going to make sure the Zoom is good here because I got an Instaclip worthy take here that I think I might have told you, but I haven't. I genuinely hope that the NFL season gets canceled. Tom Brady realizes he's too old to play, and he retires. And then he can retire with no games played outside of a Patriots jersey, and we can pretend that him signing with the Bucs was just a fever dream.
What an answer. How did I like? Yeah, I didn't expect you to say that, but I'm not surprised that you said that.
To be honest with you, that's what I hope. I hope that, and if it takes having no football for a year, my favorite sport to watch, it takes having no football for a year for that to happen, I'm okay.
Just kind of wipe it all away. Like it was all a dream, you know.
Yeah, because if he never plays a game as a Buccaneer, I'm gonna, and like 10 years from now, I'm gonna say it never happened. Like if you try and tell me he signed there, I will argue it. You know what I mean? Like if he never played, I would argue it to death. No, it's favorite. You made it up. Because
it was just a mass hallucination.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like he probably had. I'd be like he had coronavirus. It was a joke.
It was a joke, yeah. Man, dude. But do you think it's going to be kind of like hopeful thinking aside?
No, I think the NFL doesn't give a fuck about player safety. They're playing.
Yeah. See, and it's tough. It's so tough watching baseball because basically Roger Goodell, if you're Roger Goodell and you're going to try to push forward no matter what, but in terms of you, best case scenario, the media is with you and the media is going to have a bloodbath with you if you start, like, if a Marlins situation pops up, like if the Bucks just get sick and Tom Brady dies of coronavirus, and it's just bad. I mean, he's an old man. He's in the high risk. He's getting pretty old.
I miss that. You talking about Brady?
Yeah, I'm saying Brady. What if Brady dies of coronavirus?
Man, Brady's the healthiest person on the planet right now.
Yeah, but he's old. He's in that older. What is he, like, 70?
The thing is, you follow the TB12 method, and that takes 20 years off your age. He's 44, I think. So he's probably like 24.
So like if Tom Brady, what you're saying is Tom Brady could come out and say, like, could basically become the new Dr. Fauci and basically just like, this is what you got to do to survive COVID, and just like train everybody gets put on Tom Brady's training regimen.
If everybody's on TB12, there wouldn't be a global pandemic.
There wouldn't be if we were all just a bunch of Tom Bradys. Is that what you're saying? Yeah. So what you're saying is if we were all Tom Bradys, the COVID numbers would be a bit deflated?
And then I walked right into that. But I mean, I for real though, I can't see the NFL season not happening, especially now the sports are back. The NFL has got plenty of time to plan. They're going to come up with a horrible plan, but they're going to plan something, and they're going to roll it out. And I think the question is more, does the season go to completion? I think it starts 100%.
Yeah, it starts.
Whether it gets completed. And whether or not, how many star players opt out. I mean, like you talk about the Patriots, Hightower opted out, Marcus Cannon opted out, Brandon Bolden opted out. So, I mean, Hightower, probably your best defensive player aside from Stephon Gilmore. Marcus Cannon, your starting right tackle. They're opting out. And you're going to have some marquee. You had, I'm going to butcher his name, the Canadian. I'm not even, Levert something Tardif. Like, you know who I'm talking about, right? The guard for the Kansas City Chiefs. He's an actual doctor. Like, he actually has his PhD. And he's a Canadian kid, too. And he's opted out. So you're having all these marquee players opt out. That's the thing where it's like, you're going to have the season. Is it going to be watchable? Are you going to have enough talent on the field to make it watchable? And how long do you go before an outbreak?
Yeah. And it's going to be tough. And I mean, you carry that out, like, and you say, okay, the NFL, it's not just the NFL. You got that. They're kind of the father to the NCAA college football system. I mean, there's no connection, but really one trickles into the other and one trickles down. They're symbiotic.
You're 100% right.
You know, and the thing with the college thing is, if there's no season for college, then what are teams going to do next season for scholarships? What are teams going to be like? Can teams afford, to take a year off? Yeah.
I mean, if you're looking at like your Alabamas, your Clemsons, your Ohio State, Michigan, they're fine.
Yeah.
But you get some of these lower level schools, like I'm wearing the Syracuse. I'm saying Syracuse is a lower level school, but they might rely on that a little bit more. Kind of your more like your South Carolina stuff like that. I'm not throwing shots. I'm just saying.
No,
you're not
it's
as
just
marquee.
facts. It's just facts.
You might need it a little bit more because I don't think this season happened. I don't think the NCAA season happens because I'm a student athlete and I'm saying you already should be paying me. I'm not risking a lot more without pay. Like paying me. You know what I mean? like, especially if I'm a kid that thinks I can actually go to the show.
Mhm.
Like, if you are already on draft boards right now, just sit the year out and train, and just
Mhm.
post Instagram videos of yourself training every day, and your
Like,
draft stock will bump.
mhm. Yeah,
Like, and I'm not even, and I don't want to be like that. That's a
yeah,
fact. Like,
no,
if
that's a
you
fact.
do
No,
that,
that's
like, you will help yourself.
yeah, like there's ways now, thanks to social media and stuff, to keep yourself out there without playing for a specific team right now. Um, and and you got to put this in perspective too, and say, okay, well, the MLB had to cut how many like minor league teams a couple months ago, because I mean, if they're not going to be playing for a
Yeah.
season, they just can't afford it. They folded. Now half of the minor leagues has been slashed. Tons of players out now. And think about the teams like at the bottom of the barrel in D1 and even D2 and lower.
Mhm.
You know, think about those programs that are kind of scraping by as it is. Now they have to take a year off. You could see a lot of college football programs just go the way of the dinosaur, and because of a thing like this.
Yeah, the only thing I can think of is because of them being a school, like a institution for education. I would think the government, now, because being in Canada, I don't know the American laws. I would think that the government would help the school itself, and if the
Yeah.
school had money, they're gonna funnel it into football after this to prop it up. I
Yeah.
would think. But then again, if NCAA laws start coming in that where the players need to get paid, then it's going to screw them
Yeah.
over even more too.
And there's
Which I think
already
is a likely something that's likely coming down the line soon.
and there's already a conversation in the NCAA, which is to say, okay, we are not putting out competitive games week in, week out. You know, most of the time you have Alabama playing a bottom of the barrel team.
Yeah,
and
but that's part of college football.
Yeah,
That's
but
part
the
of
thing is
college
that
football.
that is part of college football, but does that, like, there are people within the system that are saying we need to change this in order to be more like the NFL, where it's competitive every week in, week out.
No, I
You
don't.
know,
I don't think so, because
there
what you find is, but you need that in college football, because you like because for the ranking system, you need your Alabama's, your Ohio States to just piss pound teams in a week to jump up the rankings. You need that. You need to keep them around like maximum one loss a season. So you need them having easy games. It doesn't make the greatest TV, but at the end of the year, it makes sure that the marquee teams are in marquee games.
No, that's fair. That's fair. But it'll be interesting to see what the NCAA does. And football. I mean, are we going to have football this year? In what capacity and how long it's going to last? That's going to be really interesting thing to watch. So,
Yeah, like I said, I think it's a matter of we'll have it for how long. That's the question. I don't think they'll finish the season.
It's tough. Tough
It's
out
tough
here.
out here.
Tough out here, especially because then at that point, the NHL is going to be done. NBA is going to be done. And do they start, like, does the NBA and NHL start the next season at the normal time?
Sorry, I missed that. What'd you say?
Do the winter sports, so NBA and NHL, do they start at their normal time next season?
No, they're being pushed way back.
Yeah,
So I mean, this is, I think they're gonna be pushed away, but they're not ending until probably September, October.
Yeah, but still, so let's say September, they end in October. Baseball ends in October too. So all three sports end in October. Let's say or baseball, who knows if they make it that long, but the NFL, what if they go a month and then tap out because everybody's getting sick? And now, like, next thing you know, you have just another period of no sports.
The second time would be worse too.
The second time would be way worse, man.
Yeah.
And that's where you just got to thank your lucky stars that we have Uncle Dana out there giving us UFC fights.
Yeah, because the UFC's not stopping anytime soon. And I mean, they're coming up with some, like, we have Cormier Stipe coming up in 2 weeks. That's going to be, we'll preview this that fight card next week, as long as we don't take another few weeks hiatus.
Yeah.
We got in September Adesanya Costa, and then in October Khabib Gaethje. So they're just throwing big events.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be good. And the Cormier Stipe fight, there's, I mean, at this point, I'd say there's 75% chance we're going to be watching that together in person. So we're going to have to be able to come with some pretty good insights on the recap for that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so that would be exciting.
Steve, don't get mad about the social distancing, though, please.
Yeah, people
please
don't, because we're following the rules, okay? Doug Ford says it's okay, so we're gonna get together. We're in phase 3. We're in stage 3. I'm just talking about how we're in stage 3. Can you hear me? We're in stage 3.
Yeah, we're back. I mean, at this point, the Zoom just keeps cutting in and out. There's some bullshit here. The ad read, if you're watching this, you've heard the ad read before. Check the link in the description, phoenixfit.com, fnxfit.com. Hit it up. Use the promo code BGT15. Buy some fucking merch.
And shout out to Cousin Taylor from North Carolina. Thank you for listening. Man, if you actually made it to the end, that's sick, because this was a duck, this podcast.
Yeah, this was like 40-year-old Peyton Manning trying to throw it downfield. Like this was, this was a tough one. I guess that's what happens. You get a pretty crappy Zoom connection, and
some ring rust.
Record in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. So,
but we got some big plans for the future, kind of distant future, but I mean, stay tuned.
Big stuff is coming,
because we're gonna be coming hot soon enough.
All right. Have a good one.
All righty.